welcome to PLUTUS IAS. This side CS Sonali Jindal, and daily we take up the daily news analysis, and today we will discuss about the 2nd September 2024. And in the initial 1 minute we firstly see what are the topics that will be covered in the particular video, so that you can skip the video to see that particular topic that you want to refer. And we also discuss how it will be asked in the mains examination and how it will be asked in the prelims examination. There also, after that, we take up some, try to extract some of the examples that can be used in the respective mains papers. And apart from that, we also try to complete some of the topic of the mains that are being mentioned in the syllabus, so that we are able to relate with the newspaper article and with the syllabus and the previous year questions also. So we also take up and discuss about the previous year questions, if any, related to the particular article. Let's start the today's discussion. First article, that there is an editorial that talks about the reforming the process of the judicial appointments. So here the basically problem, as there is a judicial pendency, that highlights the problem, like there is a delay in the appointments in the judiciary, and we will discuss, like at present there is a collegium system that is prevalent, and before that in 2015, that with the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act, through which the NJAC, that is a National Judicial Appointment Commission, that was declared as unconstitutional, and we will discuss what could be the another way forward to fulfill the situation, and what could be the advantages or the positives of the current prevalent collegium system, and what were the issues in the basically NJAC, and what new reforms can be brought, so that we can basically reform the judiciary appointment system. And we will also try to discuss about the other problems in the judiciary as such. After that, there is another article also that also talks about the issues in the judiciary, where basically our president has highlighted the black coat syndrome. We will discuss what is a black coat syndrome as highlighted by our president, and there is a basically highlight or the problem raised by our president, that is on the culture of adjournments in the judiciary that delays the basically justice system. We will discuss about that. After that, although there is was a HEMA committee report, we have already discussed about the HEMA committee report, which has highlighted the assault or the issues or the safety issues among women we basically face in the film industry, and this has been highlighted by the HEMA committee report. But in this report, the issues of the labor issues has already been highlighted, but it is being ignored. We will see what are the issues that are highlighted by the HEMA committee report, and briefly we will also basically take up some of the issues that were highlighted by the HEMA committee report, but we have discussed it already. You can refer that video. After that, there is another article that talks about the LGBT Qaa couples get ration cards. It means the LGBTQIA couples, their rights are in news, and in the last video also we have discussed these couples have got the right to have a joint account. So if the question is on the gender empowerment, like in the GS1, then you can mention some of the reforms taken by the government, and you need to basically take up that sense that if the gender word is being used in the exam, this is not like you have to just write about the women only. You have to take up the other genders also. So it means in the social justice or the social empowerment chapter, you can relate basically their rights. After that, there is another article that talks about the urbanization issues. We will see like how cities are growing outwards and what are the new changes need to be brought. As in GS1, urbanization is a specific topic that is mentioned in the syllabus itself, and you are already aware, like LGBTQI couples, it can be related to the GS1. After that, labor issues highlighting the basically HEMA committee report. This can be related to the GS2, but with the GS3 more as the GS3 in which economy is included and the labor issues can be mentioned in it. After this, first two articles talks about the judiciary. You can relate it with the GS2 judiciary topic here. And let's start our discussion on the first article. So, reforming the process of the judicial appointments. This editorial basically talks that there is a need of bringing reforms in the judicial appointments. But firstly, before that, we need to discuss about the issues in the appointment first. Because before going into the basically what are the changes to be brought, firstly we have to understand what is the present system. So what is the present system? Here is a present system, that is a collegium system. You need to basically firstly understand that in fact in the prelims section they can ask about how the judiciary is appointed. Basically with the evolving method of the basically judiciary judge's case, the third judge case that has said a particular setup of the collegium system was set up. Under this, obviously one of the first thing you already know, actually the judge is being appointed by the president. But from where the president is getting that recommendation of the name of the judge who will be appointed is basically done by the collegium system. So I hope it is clear to you. Under Article 124, judges are being appointed by the president, but obviously president acts on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers, and how the basically advice is given by the Council of Ministers, that is being decided by the collegium system. And this kind of basically culture or the presidents has been set up by the third judge's case. So what is the collegium system? Let's discuss. So the Supreme Court collegium system is headed by the Chief Justice of India and it comprises the four senior most judges. So basically four senior most judges recommends the name to the Chief Justice of India, and then it goes to the Council of Ministers and to the President, and then President basically appoints. The High Court collegium is considering the Chief Justice of the India and the four other senior most judges of that court, that is a High Court. This is how the Supreme Court or the High Court judges are being appointed. It means in the prelims, the appointment system can be asked as such, as it is a present system. So even if the question comes like what are the new reforms or changes needed to be brought in the judicial appointments, or second thing, maybe like how we can change the system. In this, firstly you have to understand what is the present system. In fact, you have to give the reference to the collegium system also in the introduction itself. There you have to define, because you have to show to the examiner that this is the present system, and for this maybe you can like draw some diagram or the flow chart to show your understanding. So this is the basically collegium system, in which name recommended for the appointment by the High Court collegium reaches the government, and only after the approval by them, that is the Supreme Court collegium and the Chief Justice of India, it goes to the government, and then President appoints the High Court judge or the Supreme Court judge. I hope it is clear to you that in both of the cases, like High Court judge or the Supreme Court judge, both are appointed by the President. Is it clear to you? Only at the level of the district judge, the basically governor comes into the picture. Firstly, this prelims fact should be clear to you. I hope the collegium system is clear. Now, what is the issue? Like this collegium system, although it is recommending, but in this we are saying like actual power of appointment goes to the government only. And in fact, the name recommended by the judiciary, there could be some nepotism. And the Law Commission has highlighted the problem of Uncle Judge syndrome. It means there could be some nepotism, or the judge name that has been basically recommended may be related to the other judges. So they are basically appointing maybe their dear and near ones. This is called as a uncle judge syndrome. It has been highlighted by the law commission, and there is a government involvement also in the collegium system, and the process, it takes the time. The file that flows from like judiciary to the government and then the appointment by the president, there is a delay in this, and this process is called as the memorandum of procedure. And till now, although the judiciary has made a timeline for the memorandum of procedure that happens in the judiciary, but thereafter, when the basically government appoints, there is no timeline mentioned for that. So there is a delay. That is why the delay happens at the appointment level. And the other things, the uncle judge syndrome or the transparency is not there in the recommendation. So on what criteria the name has been recommended, this is not being provided. So there is a lack of transparency, and there is a uncle judge syndrome that raises the question on the trust or the confidence of the judiciary appointments. I hope the problem in the current situation or the current prevalent collegium system is clear to you. Now let's discuss about the NJAC, that is a National Judicial Appointment Commission, that was brought by the government, but judiciary declared it as a basically unconstitutional. It was brought through the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act, and this was also asked in 2019 prelims. So 99th Constitutional Amendment Act, through which the NJAC was brought, but it was declared as unconstitutional. Let's talk about that. What was the basically appointment criteria here? It was a body responsible for the appointment and the transfer of judges. In fact, sometimes the transfer of judges is also being in news, as even like during appointment, in the transfer also, there may be basically conflict of interest may be involved in the decisions. To the higher judiciary in India, NJAC bill sought to replace the collegium system appointing the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court with Judicial Appointment Commission, wherein the executive will have say in appointing the judges. So in this basically NJAC, in which the government members were there, due to which the executive say increases. Like in present system, actually the basically recommendation is being given by the judiciary itself, and the judiciary knows better, of course, for the who is more capable. In this basically interference of the executive increases. It means it was against separation of power. I hope it is clear to you, because it is specifically mentioned into your GS2 syllabus. What is the separation of power? Basically the power division between the three legs of the government, or that is legislature, executive and judiciary. So the interference of the executive in the judiciary appointment, it basically raises the question on the separation of power between the executive and judiciary. So in fact, there is one article, that is article 50, that is mentioned in the DPSP, that says we need to work on the separating the powers between the executive and judiciary. But again, it is bringing that. In fact, when you will write about the like tribunals, in that also there are some technical members, and although those are also appointed by the government, that is why it is said that tribunals are considered to be against the separation of power, because the separation between the executive and judiciary is not there. That is why there is a problem. So NJC was declared as unconstitutional on this basis only, and moreover it is said like judiciary obviously knows better. That is why collegium system can be considered to be the better. And in this article, it also says we can learn some of the lessons from the other countries. Firstly, we need to discuss about the other issues as well. Like this is highlighting the recent report in April that says 60 lakh cases remain pending at the various high courts. 30% of the seats remained vacant. So basically, there is a vacancy in the judiciary due to which there is a judicial pendency. I hope you are able to relate. If there will be a judicial pendency, that is why basically there is a delay in the justice, and justice delayed is a justice denied. This is said that justice delayed is a justice denied. So it means it is against the right to access basically trial. And in fact, we in the past we have discussed there is a problem of the under trials. When we were discussing about the reforming the bail system, there you can relate it with like due to the judicial pendency, there is a under trial, that is the around one like 75% of the persons in the prisons are under trials. It means it is raising the question on the human rights violation. So you need to understand one thing. If you will write about the issues in the judiciary in GS2, if it is asked specifically, then you can write about the issues of the pendency and the delay in the basically decision making. And after that, we have discussed there is a delay in the appointments, that is due to the standoff between the executive and judiciary. Because even if the judiciary basically recommends a name to the government, but even then there is a delay by the appointment of the basically government, and we know there is a memorandum of procedure established for that, and there is no set timeline for the appointment. And the other thing is, it is highlighting that the collegium system is, there is a lack of accountability and transparency, and we have discussed there is a uncle judge syndrome also. And if the question comes broadly on the issues on the judiciary, there you can use this article. And in fact, you can divide your answer in this sense, like what is the legislative issue, and you can write about the infrastructural issues also, as it is said that there is a lack of the basically computers or the technical staff with the basically judiciary. That is why there is a delay is happening. And even if the question comes like what will happen due to the delay or the pendency, obviously it erodes the faith of the people, and it has it reduces the confidence in the judiciary, and that is the most important factor. And then in the next article also this is being discussed. Like it talks about the culture of adjournment of the cases in the courts has to change, says president. So basically the culture of adjournments, that is the problem in the judiciary. Like we see the general quote or the general dialogue of the movie, you might have heard Tariq pe Tariq. So this is called as adjournments. Like once we feel like it will take around more than 10 years, maybe 30 years can be taken for the simplest cases. In fact, in the past, there was one news in which women got the justice after 32 years, and that for just minimum, I think for the amount that was less than 5,000. It means, do you think even the value of that case was there after 30 years? So it means there is a delay in the judiciary due to which people doesn't want to go to the judiciary. And this is the basically article that is being written, or in which the basically views of the our president has been mentioned, which is saying like we need to basically change the culture of adjournments. And our president has highlighted one of the black coat syndrome. What is a black coat syndrome? As the basically judge is wearing the black coat, it is highlighting that the basically said that rural population consider the judges as from the lowest to the highest court as the gods, and they consider them as a god, but their faith and the confidence would fail. Their smile would disappear from their faces the moment they will get to know that it takes around 10 to 32 years. That is why due to these many years they are having the syndrome. And in fact in the same article they have mentioned, she has compared the black coat syndrome with the white coat syndrome. White coat syndrome is being used for the basically doctors in the hospitals. In our, although our Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, has also said the complacency, like the chalta hai attitude, was not an option within an institution integral to the life of the nation and the judiciary. So our basically Chief Justice has said the judiciary is integral to the life of the nation and judicial delivery is an essential service provided to the citizens. We can say the judicial independence or the basically justice system. Justice is also a basic structure of the constitution. So in this we can't basically ignore this fact, like justice delayed is justice denied. We have to work on the speedy disposal of the cases. It has also highlighted all the disposal rate has increased, but the judicial pendency is difficult to handle. For that she has given one of the basically way forward, like the culture of adjournments needs to be changed and we can bring the reforms in the judicial appointments. And judicial delivery, justice delivery is an essential service provided to the citizens, especially the most vulnerable. And you can use the same line for the conclusion if any question come on the judiciary as such, or the basically issues in the judiciary, or you are writing the way forward. Thereafter you can use this conclusion. So the solution that has been highlighted by our president is there is a need of standardization of the judicial recruitment calendar. So basically to evade or to remove the problem of vacancy in the judiciary, what we need to do, obviously the faster appointments. For that we have to basically standardize the recruitment process in the calendar. If we will bring the calendar, in fact such kind of basically suggestion is also given for the improvement in the functioning of the parliament, as if there would be a standardized calendar on which the basically we can increase the accountability in the appointment. Or you can write, we can bring the basically separate independent commission. That was the basically suggestion given in the editorial. Some countries have commissions comprising of the members of the judiciary and the legal academia, politicians and the lawyers to appoint the judges. In this basically different case studies of the different countries, their experiences have been mentioned in the editorial. So this can be used as the way forward in the like reforming of the judicial appointments. And in this also we are focusing on the standardizing the basically judicial appointments so that we can establish the accountability, and it will also bring the transparency in the appointments. And one more thing that can be done is to bring the timeline in the memorandum of procedure, and this stays in the news as there is no timeline in the memorandum of procedure. That is why the delay in judicial appointments happen. And you have understood, due to the delay in the judicial appointments, there is a basically delay in the cases disposal, or you can say there is a pendency in the judiciary. And if there is a pendency in the judiciary, due to which we can say the confidence of the people is decreasing, as it might take around 10 to 32 years. And we have also discussed, due to the pendency there is a problem of the under trial that raises the question of reforming the bail reform system, and we need to bring reforms to bring the transparency and accountability in the judiciary itself. And we can reform the current collegium system by bringing more transparency also. I hope the difference between the collegium system and the NGSA is clear to you, and you are clear with the article 124 because it can be asked in the prelims exam. Let's move to the next article. Here the basically it is highlighting that labor issues highlighted in the HEMA report get no attention. So basically, the labor issues that were highlighted by HEMA report that are not getting any attention. And we have discussed about the HEMA report, which has talked about the assault faced by the women and the issues therein. We have discussed like two types of the problems that are faced by the women here. Like first is the basically for the basically they assault the woman and the sexual exploitation of the woman on the first stance, and the second problem they face, there is a lack of the essential basic facilities to the woman. Like for example, there is a lack of proper vanity to change the clothes, or the lack of proper or sanitation and the toilets as such. So there is a lack of essential facilities in the film industry for the women, and obviously there is a also we have discussed about there is a casting couch issues we are seeing in the basically our regional film industry. And after that, this article is talking like technicians in the film industry are basically working around 15 hours or more, and this report has highlighted it and nobody is talking about that. It means the basically the labor laws are not being properly implemented in the film industry, and for this you have to understand how in the with the GS3 you can relate this topic where the labor issues are being asked, or the labor codes recently brought by the government, under which it is said like 44 laws has been compiled together to build 4 codes. And the way forward should be there is a implementation of those codes and the simplification of the labor laws, and there should be bringing the awareness among the labor so that they can assert their rights. For example, here they are working, and for that obviously maybe the alternative job options are not available. That is why that this exploitation is happening. So we need to create more employment, and there is a need of bringing more and more regulation so that the basically labor should not face any exploitation. So we need to implement our labor laws better. I hope this context, like how it can be mentioned in the employment question in the GS3, you can use it like for the laws, how it needs to be implemented in a better way, and you need to give the context of the 4 labor codes also. But the real thing is law will not work unless it is being implemented, and for that also we need to bring the awareness among the person who can assert his right. Next article that talks about the LGBT QIA couples get ration cards. We have discussed LGBT QIA basically couples get the ration cards, and in the yesterday's newspaper also, in the basically last newspaper we have discussed these couples have got the basically joint bank accounts. It means the government is focusing on bringing the gender equality to give them the equal rights. You need to relate it with the GS1, social empowerment, and if the question comes on the gender, then you can use this information, and maybe the question could come on the LGBTQIA rights as such. So you need to prepare for that, as the maybe next the legalization of the marriage can be asked, as the basically we have declared the earlier article that was declaring them unconstitutional, that was declared as unconstitutional, but we have not yet legalized the marriage. So maybe on this some debate can come, and you should use it in the gender equality such kind of news, and I hope it is clear how it can be used and how it will go forward as a debate in the question, and try to mention about the other genders also apart from the women if the question is on the gender equality, or any kind of question comes on the stereotyping, or whatever it comes in the, maybe it can also help in the GS4 ethics also. it is also showing the basically empathy of the government. That is why in that way you can relate to the GS4 ethics. Next, last article that talks about the cities in Asia are growing upwards more than the outwards. So basically, cities of Asia, rather than growing upwards, they are growing more than outwards. Like we can take an example of the Delhi. It is growing outwards with the development of the Noida, Faridabad, Gurgaon, Ghaziabad. So the Delhi NCR is also an example of how it is growing outwards. Similarly, we can take the example of the Chandigarh, where it is going outwards like Mohali, Zirakpur, or Panchkula and Baddi, how that is why it is growing outwards. Although, and these are called as maybe satellite towns also, and we can relate it with the GS1 geography urbanization topic of the society also. It is a basically measure taken by the government also and sometimes by the people. Why they prefer to basically live outskirts also? Because sometimes the basically housing facility is cheaper when someone is staying outwards or on the outskirts also, and the housing real estate prices also one of the reason that is why people prefer, they have to move to there. But in this obviously the other factor is also one considered today is due to the congestion or the traffic issues in the center city, people love to live outwards also. But here the one thing should be clear, like the problem of the transport should not be there for the people who are living outskirts. Like in the Delhi, there is a Delhi metro provision due to which people are daily commuting between the basically Gurgaon and Noida. So the transport facility has also facilitated it, and this has also decreased the population density, although not decreased as such, but at least you can imagine if those people who are living in the Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida as such, if they will live in the Delhi, then what could be the population density could be. And so it is helping Indian urbanization system if the city growing outwards. But for that there should be a basically planned, this should be a planned one, not a haphazard development. For this, Niti Aayog has also brought the idea of the transit-oriented development. That means if there is a basically metro, the transportation system, along with that the basically housing facilities need to be built. So the transit oriented development for this that is required, and you can relate it with, like for example, if the question comes on the issues of the urbanization, firstly you need to have one data, like more than 30% people are living in the urban areas, urbanization is growing, but we are facing the problems here, like the people who are migrating here faces the real estate prices, and there is a problem of the pollution, congestion on the traffic roads. And in this also the labor productivity was also asked due to the basically this scenario. If the people have to commute this much in the traffic situation, the labor efficiency could be impacted. It means we need to bring the reform, and it is saying vertical growth can increase the population density if the costs are reasonable, can house more people. Such growth needs to be supported with more jobs. We need to have more jobs in the vertical growth. Public transport is required so that we can reduce the transport emissions. There is a need of better walkability, and there is a need of the decent sewage system. So it is talking about the better or the decent sewage system is required, and there is a need of the better energy system. So if the question comes on the urbanization, you need to talk about the all facilities and also talk about the urban governance system. That is and you can use this basically knowledge to write about the urbanization in India, like how the city rather than growing vertically upwards, it is growing outwards, and it is there is a benefit of it also because it is reducing the population density in the area. But apart from that, this needs to be developed one, like for example transit oriented development. This should not be haphazard development, because otherwise the problem will also be existing there. For example, we face the traffic problems in the Gurgaon also, and we can also relate it with the drainage system of the Gurgaon. Like if the rain comes there, there could be a flood like situations, and there is a congestion problem in the Gurgaon also. This is why we can say, although the development could become a factor for the city to grow, but we need to focus on the basically planned development rather than the haphazard one, so that we can provide these kind of basic facilities to the people. And this also impacts the labor efficiency. In the past, in the previous question, in the mains they have asked about it. So in this way you can use the particular information in the GS1 urbanization. I hope it is clear to you how you can use it and how you can mention in the exam. And we are concluding our discussion today. We will meet tomorrow at the same time, and please try to mention your views in the comment section, how we can further improve. And even if we give the basically any question, try to mention the answer in the comment section. It will make the basically whole discussion more interactive, and this is a live session. You can share your views in the running video also. So we are concluding this lecture. All the best to all of you.